Man is not hot.
Raw sauce!
Alright mate, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. Guess we're gonna continue with these album reviews. So yeah, please enjoy. Today we're gonna be talking about the new album compilation Gearbox Presents Lockdown 2.0. This release was honestly very surprising because it came out of nowhere, zero promotion, just really out of the blue. I'm not complaining, I'm just grateful for the new tunes. Released by Dutch hardstyle label Gearbox Digital, it is the sequel compilation to Gearbox Presents Lockdown, which was released earlier in March. Now this is a monster 23 track compilation spanning an hour and 10 minutes, showcasing the brutal, distorted and raw side of hardstyle. There's definitely a great variety of artists on here. Some, I guess you could say, who are more well known within the hardstyle diaspora. For example, Sick Mode, Thyron and Fraw, and some who I have not heard of before, such as DSTORTD, Trojan and Juice. So I was extremely excited to listen to this whole thing. There are definitely some belters in this compilation. I was personally very impressed by that first track, Illusion by Expulze and Splinta. It starts off very eerily, very metallic with that deep sub bass in the back. Then it fades off into a future bass section, which was honestly unexpected. Ooh, so good. So a massive brownie points for uniqueness. And then suddenly out of nowhere, doof, doof, doof. Very distorted, crunchy, atmospheric and beefy kicks. That acidic bass kick in the second drop as well. Just so cool. Yeah, definitely my favourite off the compilation. Game Over by Fraw is another huge one. I love that Tetris theme song melody sample. And in signature Fraw fashion, he just hits you out of nowhere with those disgusting hammer kicks. Let's Go by Giocatori. Apologies if I mispronounce that, is another track that I enjoy. The ASAP Rocky sample is definitely very fitting because this track is indeed wild for the night. Just filthy gated kicks one after the other. It's just not being polite at all. Just extremely punchy and powerful. PeaceMaker by DSTORTD is another one that's quite mad. The hammer kicks are filthy, mixed in with that get the fuck up sample. It's just sick. That melodic last drop as well just ties it all together, featuring some fat kick rolls as well. Onslaught by Mutilator, it's another favourite of mine from this compilation. That robotic voice sample Onslaught definitely sets the theme for this track. Very dark and dystopian. Then it just hits you straight away with that gated goodness. And if you listen to this, you just can't resist the clap along. Although I wish he gave us more, as it's quite short at 2 minutes. And track 11, Party Started by the Straikerz, one of the most unique tracks on this record. The variety of kicks is just mind-blowing. Switching it up from Russian hard bass to filthy gated kicks, it's just crazy. My god, man! Definitely very impactful and has a lot of character. The sound design with the synth leads and vocal sampling, just so sick. However, there are some tracks that are a little bit bland, bereft of that extra seasoning, which just doesn't make it stand out from the rest of the tracks. The Mistortion remix of Dexy Insane has some very cool kicks, but they're just smashed with distortion. It works initially, but the second drop just repeats the first one. It becomes slightly monotonous and droning. I feel like it's lacking something. There could be new elements which could be added to differentiate it from the other tracks. Guess What by Night Shift is another example. It just doesn't have the same beefiness as the other tracks in this record. It just feels a bit repetitive and lacking substance. Although I do enjoy that laser kick in the second drop. The new Sick Mode track Gangsta I'm kinda torn on. The sampling is so good. Money on my mind, money on my mind. That hollow bass kick in the second drop is so good as well. but I feel like he's just done so much better than this. His new track with Cryx, Runaway, was so much better in my opinion. Maybe it's because I've heard these kicks before. I just don't get that feeling of surprise when I listen to this track compared to his other ones. Again, I feel there needs to be something else between the layers, just to give it that extra level of spiciness. The Void by Thyron started off absolutely fucked. Definitely did not expect distorted laser pit kicks. Does that mean Thyron is GPF? But then the second drop didn't feel as exciting or powerful as the first one. It wasn't as explosive as I expected it to be. I guess that unexpected pit kick took away some of the flavour. I just wish there was something else to gauge your interest back in. But then again, Thyron said this was the worst track ever, so can't blame him. Paralysed by Arzadous, I hope that's how you pronounce it. Definitely has some cool ideas. Mixing metal with hardstyle. Very fat, very fat. I think Deadly Guns would be the only one to explore this idea. I feel kinda mixed on this though. I love the metal sections and the screamo vocals, but I just feel it's slightly too overbearing. Plus, I think the drop ideas need some more experimentation and tinkering. Moving on to the hardcore tunes, I thought Tit by Trojan was a pretty cool track. That breakbeat D&B cutaway was pretty cool. And then it just moved on to ferociously brutal and distorted kicks. Track 22, Break It Down by the Straikerz and eDUB, is an extremely cool track as well. Definitely did not expect a collaboration between these two artists. Up-tempo mixed with raw, just brilliant combination. Love that mini rock section as well. And then it just goes straight into up-tempo kicks. Yeah, overall, a fucking banger. But yeah, overall, I feel a bit torn on this compilation. Definitely have some mixed feelings. There are definitely some fat ideas and absolute bangers in this selection. But there are some tracks that just don't do it for me. But the track placement and the way they flow into each other is just slightly jarring. The chemistry isn't quite there, I feel. I think the track listing could do with a reshuffle. In terms of highlights, I really respect and enjoy some of the ideas at present. Illusion by Expulze and Splinta, I thought I'd never see a future-based hardstyle hybrid. Game Over by Fraw, just disgusting hammer kicks with Tetris theme song. Paralysed by Arzadous, that metal hardstyle combination is just brilliant. And Onslaught by Mutilator, just disgustingly gated kick drums. But then the constant barrage of raw distortion, again, just feels slightly overbearing. It's like each track just tries to one-up each other by turning up the distortion to unseen levels, which definitely works sometimes, but here it doesn't really. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but perhaps some tracks just need that extra level of spiciness to keep your audience interested. But my feelings are definitely more positive than negative. There's a huge sample of show-stopping bangers. I think I can already hear the crowd reactions when these are dropped live. I'm sure there's definitely something in these 23 tracks which I enjoy. Whether it be a screech, kick, a sample, or just production. All in all, Gearbox are definitely one of my favourite hardstyle labels. Really known for their prominent and experimental ideas. It's definitely not the norm and is out of the ordinary. Evidenced by this new album compilation. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Gearbox Presents Lockdown 2.0. If you made it this far, I hope you enjoyed. Please comment if you agreed or disagreed with me. What was your favourite track? What track didn't you like? Please like and subscribe. Gearbox Presents Lockdown 2.0.